He is a former Fed governor and professor of economics at the University of Chicago, Booth School of Business. Randall Kroszner joins me now from the Windy City. Thank you very much indeed for joining me. First of all, were you as surprised as everyone else seems to have been by these numbers today?
Well, they certainly are disappointing. We were really trying to see whether the weak numbers that we heard from last month were part of a trend or just a bump in the road. And now it's a little bit more of a concern that it could be a longer soft patch, a little bit of a downward trend.
Now, the Fed was saying last time that there were lots of reasons for this. For example, the tragedy in Japan, the situation in the Middle East, bad weather. It seems harder now, doesn't it, to use those excuses, if you like, for what we've seen.
Well, I think that's right. I mean, we really needed to get more than 1 month's numbers in order to revise our forecast. And now we've seen the numbers not only for May and June being weak, but the revisions back from the earlier months being weaker than we had thought. And so that suggests that we're sort of moving to a somewhat slower growth phase.
And therefore, how does that impact on your outlook for the rest of the year in terms of jobs numbers?
Well, I think it certainly suggests that we're going to have a really tough time bringing the unemployment rate down in the U.S. We've had a lot of difficulty with that so far. Hopefully, we will start to see some more job growth as some of these uncertainties that the Fed has talked about work their way through the system, but they have longer legs than the Fed had thought and than I think many private sector forecasters had thought.
Now, we heard President Obama speaking. It's going to be very difficult, isn't it, for the government to have any money left to stimulate growth and to do the kind of things that might be necessary in the economy because of the budget situation?
Well, I think one of the key things that's holding back businesses is just an incredible amount of uncertainty about what the budget situation will be, about what regulation is going to be. A lot of these burdens are making it much more difficult for firms to feel comfortable about going ahead and making purchases. And there's a lot of uncertainty on the individual side also. Really, people have no idea what their tax rates are going to be over time. And that's, I think, been an important impediment to more rapid job growth. So that the key thing that the people in Washington do is give clarity, reduce that uncertainty. And
so really you're saying that actually clarity, if we knew what was going to happen with the debt ceiling, it actually might help stimulate growth in the sense that people would be more confident, both individually and companies, going forward.
Not just the debt ceiling, but also the path of taxes and the path of debt over the next few years. That's exactly what they're debating now. I mean, the short-run issue is the debt ceiling, but the longer-run issue is what is federal government's expenditures going to be? Are they going to be 24% of GDP, 21% of GDP? Are taxes going to be high or going to be low? These are important issues that really need to be defined, and I think that's one of the key drags going forward.
Now, as far as markets are concerned, we saw last month the markets reacting pretty badly. The same again today. Are we likely to see more of the same? Is this going to impact quite negatively on the markets?
Well, I think we've certainly seen a reaction in the fixed income markets. The Treasury yield has come down. I think people were getting a little bit too excited earlier in the week about some of the more positive numbers, and so I think the market was moving a little bit ahead of itself. The U.S. markets are not all that much different from where they were about a week ago. I think we still need to see more data about whether this is just going to be a slow patch for a few months, as often happens in recoveries, or whether this is the leading edge of something that is unfortunately more negative.
Randall Kroszner, thank you very much indeed for joining us from Chicago.